What's up, everyone? Here we are ready to do this thing on a Saturday night for the Scream at Night podcast. And I've got Sarah and Julie with me. And thank you guys for being here tonight. And I'm excited. I'm really excited. Um, you guys, in particular, have been ranting and raving in a good way, I want to say, about Stranger Things. I can't even keep up with you guys, really, on Instagram. It's like been so cool to see all the conversation. So this will be fun. This will be a lot of fun. All right. For you guys that are here in the chat, thank you for being here. We appreciate it and hope that everyone's doing well. We see you guys, and thank you so much for hanging out and waiting around for us. Sarah, let's start this off. Let's just get right into this. We've got two things we're going to be doing. We're going to be talking about Stranger Things 5, of course, and we're also going to talk about the hope and the prayers for a Scream 7 trailer in the next few days. But let's start with Stranger Things 5. What are your overall thoughts?
In general, I liked it. I was happy with like 95% of it.
95.
So,
all right.
Yeah, it's gone up. I've rewatched it twice because I initially saw it in the theater and I left kind of like stunned. Like there was something that I know we'll get into it, but there was something that I really didn't like about it. And then I watched it 2 more times since, and like I'm at peace with it now. It's just wasn't my ideal ending. And like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I'm not going to buy the series anymore.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, yeah, we'll get back to that in a second. That's interesting because when you said that, I remember you saying that on Instagram. I was really curious how you perceive watching a series, because some people, they watch things over and over for different reasons, and some people don't for various reasons. Julie, what about you? Overall, what was your vibe once you finished the finale for Stranger Things?
I think I started off pretty high. I feel like the more I think about it, and to be fair, I've had a lot of downtime the past few days to think about it and doom scroll and all that, but
Right.
it's like the more I think about it, the sadder it makes me, and I feel like we missed out on a lot. I'm thinking about things where I'm like, well, they never explained that, or what about that, or oh man, I wish they had spent a lot more time on so and so instead of doing something else. So I feel like the disappointment is going up a little bit for me, but
Really?
yeah.
Is
Yeah, it
that in
sucks.
part? So is that in part because of the online conversations? Because, man, there's a lot of people online that are toasting the crap out of Stranger Things.
Well, I would say partially yes, but partially no, because I think me personally, I've noticed with myself, and I think this is just a common thing where you see something and you're so high on the excitement where you're like, oh yeah, that was great. And then you're alone and you think about it and you're like, oh, now that the high has come down, you start thinking about the logistics and the things that weren't there that you didn't notice while you were watching because you were so into it. But I was talking to my sister though, and I was like, yeah, I think another big part of it is the curse of the internet, where now people have fan theories and the excitement is like 200%, and you read things that you expect to happen and things that other people put in your head. And then when you see the final product, and if it doesn't come anywhere close, even if it's not the same thing, if it's on a different level and it's just not what it could have been, and you're like, wow, they really kind of missed an opportunity there. And I think, that's the curse of the internet, but also it's we shouldn't just absorb something and accept it and be like, yeah, that was great. They did the best they could,
Yeah, that's true. Although I will, to your point, and then I'll get back to you, Sarah, to your point about the internet, what's interesting to me, and especially because we all talked about this leading up to the volume and the finale and so forth. There were times where first of all, I couldn't keep up with you guys. That's number one. And so that was a big part of it. I really wasn't able to keep up. You guys were like blasting the memes and the vids and the clips and this and that. But it was all great stuff. But for me, I kind of hung in the back a little bit anyways, just myself, because there were so many theories. I mean, there was like 300,000 different theories, like for one episode. You know what I mean? Like it was that crazy. And I was thinking, there's no way all this stuff is going to happen. And there were a lot of great theories. There were a lot of people talking about it and coming up with some amazing things and plot points and through lines and all of this. And for me, especially the few times I've talked about it, I kind of boiled it down to a couple of things, me personally, that I was looking at, whether it was who I thought was going to live or die, or how it was going to end, or, Kali, or, all these little things. But I was much more kind of small minded on it. But you're right. The internet can really like send you to the moon with high expectations of so many things that probably logistically couldn't even fit, let's say in a particular episode, or let's say in the finale. The finale was what, 2 hours. It just wouldn't even work to have that many things happening. You've got to tell a story, you've got to let things play out, and so forth. So it's interesting. That's a really good point you made. It really, really is. Sarah, to go back to you, like when we look at volume 2, what were, if you have like one or two high points that really worked for you and a couple of low points that you just weren't big into, what would you say that those are?
Oh, Mrs. Wheeler is a high point. Karen Wheeler coming out of nowhere is great. Derek is also a high point.
Yeah.
But on the other side, I think we focused like a little too much on the kids, and not that it didn't go anywhere, but like we didn't really need to spend that much time with them. We could have been having a little more action in like the real world with like the cast that we already had going. I know like a big complaint is that it was very dialogue heavy and not like very action forward, which I honestly didn't mind for like the second part of volume 2, because like it wasn't just a season finale, it was a series finale, so they had to do a lot of wrapping up. They had to fill in a lot of lore. They had to do stuff, so like that didn't bother me. But yeah, I wish they didn't spend so much time in like the mind palace, as I guess is what I'll call it, but like in Vecna's mind with like the kids, and spent like a little more in the real world. But I think probably some of my favorite moments of the whole season 5, volume 1 and 2, are actually in the finale. So we'll probably get into talking about it later, but it was definitely the Joyce Vecna confrontation.
Yeah.
I think that was my favorite part.
Yeah, that was great, man. I was thinking to myself, wow, that axe is either very dull or or Vecna, he just does not want to get killed. Like, cut his head off, bro. Why is it taking that many swings?
I thought that was so realistic, though. I don't know. Is that just me? I was like, finally, somebody's doing this, because typically in film, you just see one chop and they're done. And it's like, well, that doesn't happen in real life.
He's also like a weird vine creature, so it could have been a little tougher, but I liked that it took so long, because it was like every hit, it flashed to like the trauma that he inflicted like on each character, and it was just like so satisfying when it was finally done. I think that's probably my favorite part of the finale.
Yeah. No, I think it was really nice too. And all of the flashbacks I thought were just great. I know it's a little cheesy and it's obviously nostalgia bait, but like you said, this is the end of the series. I mean, this show's been on for a long time. And for me anyways, I don't rewatch it all the time. I've rewatched it a few times all the way through, but there were things you forget, or for me, there was things I forgot, little moments that I forgot. When Elle was talking to Hopper and talking about when he first took her in and they showed the flashes, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. It did happen just like that. So I thought that those, for me anyways, those things worked. I do know that there are a lot of fans that thought that, they really maybe did too many of those things. I didn't feel that. Did you guys feel as though they did too many flashes into the past, too many flashbacks?
No, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
No, not
no.
for a
Okay.
series finale. If it was like a random season
Right.
finale, maybe, but not for the series.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I agree. So that's one thing I didn't agree with online. We got stabby the saying I love this. The Mind Flayer boss fight was epic. Haters gonna keep hating. I gotta admit, I thought it was pretty epic too. And I know a lot of people, and I think even in the thread there was a thing that you guys found where they were like Vecna was all alone. He didn't have anybody with him. And yeah, I guess you could kind of look at it that way too, but I didn't have an issue with that. Maybe it's just because it just wasn't on my radar as I'm watching it. So I was just so invested, with this big fight. Um, and plus the mind flares there, like this is a humongous creature. What did you guys? We're kind of going all over the place, but that's okay. But what did you guys think of the fight and how that came about, and obviously, the whole team working together? Was there anything that stood out or didn't work for you guys? Julie, you want to start?
Yeah, I think, and this is kind of just probably the show in general, but I think it really stood out this season, just like the power imbalance of certain characters and versus the military versus, one Demogorgon and then,
Yeah.
the group versus the Mind Flayer, which is like fine. It's that kind of show. I get it. But
Hmm.
it would have been nice to see, and we talked about this like last week, some consequences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody, I don't think anyone even got injured besides, nobody from the main cast besides the two people who did have consequences. But
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
kind of bothered me.
You wanted some spice, you said.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Um it just felt for me it felt a little too clean, a little too easy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There was that part of me too. Like when we were watching it, I was watching with the family, and there was that because we kept talking, and just like we did as well. But we were talking here at my house, like who's gonna live, who's gonna die. Now, I never thought it was gonna be a bunch of deaths, but I did think we'd probably have at least two, and I'm in
Mhm.
two of the main cast. Which I don't know is maybe 9 characters or so, something like that. Um, and we didn't get that. And I was okay with it because I really enjoyed the ending of it. But yeah, there weren't every time someone really got close, like when Nancy was in the canyon and the mind flare is like literally right on top of her. It's like, of course they're gonna use the flamethrower to save her right then and there. I mean, but movies are like that too, and other TV shows are like that too. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting discussion for sure. Sarah, how about you?
Like, we didn't even lose Ted. Like, why was Ted necessary to survive?
What?
Like, we could have killed off some external folks and been okay. Like, did Murray need to make it through this whole thing?
Bro,
Murray could have jumped into the helicopter
I
with the
thought that's what he
grenade.
was doing. They were
Yep.
trolling us a lot because there were a lot of
Yeah.
times when people were doing things that looked like, yep, this is it. And then it was like, nope, it's not. Because why why did Murray have to like run like Carl Lewis to the edge of the building just to throw it? It's like you know what I mean? It was crazy. It was stylistic for sure. But I thought he was going for it with a jump.
And same with
Yeah.
Vicky. Like, yes, she was like, Robin's partner, but like, what was her role in the finale except to push Max's wheelchair? Like, we didn't
Mm,
need her. She could have died. She wasn't even
mm.
in the last like part of it when everyone had their like moments. Like, there were people that just like as soon as the battle was over, we never saw them again. So like, why did they need to live?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. I had said, I said Vicky might be one of the ones that could go because I was thinking, maybe the kind of the outer rim folks, at
Yeah.
least one or two, just to have some death and consequence, even for the main players like Robin. You know what I mean? But and again, it sounds like I'm upset about it. I'm not upset about it, but I do think that they could have had at least, one or two folks go. Um, I was glad that lieutenant though got his comeuppance. That
Oh,
was,
Oh,
that
that
was
was
great.
so good.
I
Yeah.
mean, pulling that trigger was almost as slow as Max getting to the portal to get into her body. It was almost as slow, but it was stylistic. It was stylistic. Let's talk about Kali. Everyone was banking that this chick was the villain, with her power set, how she was basically like rage baiting 11 and Hopper before the finale, which, by the way, I want to give credit to Hopper. I love Hopper so much. Just when he does that side eye thing, or Jesus Christ, I'm so glad, probably more than anything else, I'm so glad he didn't pull a sacrifice maneuver, because I just love the character. I love the fact that he's grumpy. I love the fact that he's ready to do whatever he has to do. I love his love for Joyce and everyone, so I'm so glad that he didn't die. But Kali, it didn't happen the way everyone thought. Well, Julie, tell me how you felt, because I was watching it and I was like, what? She's not the villain. You know what I mean? They kept acting like she would be, like when she pulled the gun out. And I was like, and then I was like,
It's like I was fine with it, and
Yeah.
honestly, thinking back, I'm like, they wouldn't have done that to this character. But if you're not gonna do that, I wish they had done a little more with her. I feel like she was there and she helped a little bit, but and then she just died and like that was it.
Yeah.
And I just
Yeah.
and now she could have done something bigger that's left up to interpretation, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I was a little disappointed because I was like, well, if she's not a big twist, then they kind of just I don't know. It felt like she was brought back and they didn't do enough with her for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, unless that thing at the end
Right.
is real. And that'll be probably the last thing we get to for sure. Sarah, how about you? I mean, did you think that this villain was going to emerge, and are you upset that she didn't?
No, so I never thought of her as like an actual villain. Like
Mm-hmm.
I like believed that she believed what she was saying was like the right thing to do. I just
Mm-hmm.
hated what she was going to do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
I never liked her as a character in season 2 anyway. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like super not pumped to see her come back. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, if they do use her, we're gonna need to use her power in like an incredible way. And yeah, on the very end, that never like paid off. So I was like, well, why do we even really need her? So yeah,
Mm.
didn't think she was the villain, just she was like, I think Rachel said it in the chat, but like she never saw her as a villain. She was just like a traumatized girl. And that's how I saw her. She believed what she believed. She thought she was doing the right thing. I just didn't like it and didn't really like her.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think it had me scratching my head, because I'm like, well, what? I mean, yeah, it's a callback to the previous season with her, as a character. But I was like, what are we gonna do with that power? It's gotta. I kept thinking that it was gonna, really manifest into something big outside of what might have happened at the very end. Because again, some people are with it, some people are not with it, so it kind of doesn't count in a way to me, you know. Um, but I kept thinking, she's got to have a big moment per se, and she really didn't. I mean, some people say, oh well, she's that last link to someone else that was a part of the program, and this and that, and she's Henry's brother, and this and that. And by the way, listen, if you got a chance to stab the villain,
I
do
was gonna
not
bring it up.
take 6.7 seconds to say hello, brother. You know what I mean? Like, stab him. I was like,
Shout out to the Vampire Diaries if anybody knows what I'm talking about. Oh
they
my
did it
god.
there.
Yeah, it's
Oh
like in the
geez.
pilot episode, there's a line, it's that exact line, and it's just people are memeing it. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, you guys love slowing down time. What's going on? It's unbelievable.
Mhm.
Um, let's get into, as we get to the finale, not the very end, but kind of when, the characters are together and making their connections. What did you guys think of our good friends, Jonathan and Nancy and Robin and good old Steve. What did you think of that scene, Sarah?
I thought it was nice. It was
I thought
nice
so
to
too.
kind of see that little peek into the future of like what they were doing and to know that they were all like basically happy in their lives. It
Hmm.
wasn't anything that was like super tear jerky. Like I think the younger kids got like a better ending, but I was fine
Hmm.
with it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was cool to give them. I don't know. It just felt like it was like a fresh take. They grew up and had their own lives, and even for the actors, I really enjoyed them being different too. Even Jonathan, even the way he was, sitting, he's kind of sitting like, some would be up and coming director wannabe, and so I thought there was some cool stuff about that. And you're right, it didn't get too sappy. There was a little bit of sadness there, but I thought it was cool, to acknowledge that. I mean, like you go through something like they've gone through, you got a different connection than, someone that you make a friend of at work or something.
Yeah, if this was just a season finale, I would have said it was like a little too like cookie cutter and cliche, like, and you get your happy ending and you're doing something fun and this is you and blah blah blah. But
Hmm.
series finales, I give a little more grace to because like you kind of do want to see what their story is gonna be when we're not watching anymore and what they're gonna be up to, and you kind of want to know that everybody's happy. So in that retrospect, I liked it, even if it was a little bland.
Yeah, yeah, no, well said, well said. Julie, what did you think of their little meeting on the rooftop?
I think same. I think they earned a little bit of awkward small talk and normalcy and like
Yeah.
I think it was a good little epilogue for them. Although I will say I really wish one or two of them had like
Right.
I just I don't know. It just again it felt a little too easy, but we're not talking about
Mhm,
that. I think it made sense what they did with each character.
mhm.
Um yeah, and I think yeah, it was almost kind of depressing to me, but I think that's just like, hey, that's just life. People move on and they don't have this
Yeah.
crazy stage of their life anymore. They're doing normal things and that's just how it is. People drift apart, but yeah.
That is exactly the vibe that I had, and that was what made it kind of sad. But I mean, but this is life, right?
Mhm.
It's very. I mean, I can't speak to you guys' experience, like let's say graduating high school or college, but that was kind of the vibe. It's like, okay, well now it's time. It's time to work. It's time to focus myself in a different way. I'm not able to just hang out with buddies whenever I want or whenever whatever. And there's a growth in that, but there's also a little bit of a sadness. And I think that scene did capture that, at least for me. And of course, I'm older than you guys, so maybe that's part of it too. I don't know. But that scene really spoke to me. Because we've seen these characters for years, and I was just kind of like, yeah, well, this is kind of it. And, Steve's so responsible now, but yet still Steve, which was cool. Like it felt organic and fairly like, okay, yeah, it could happen like that. Um, Sarah, when we get to obviously, the main players, the kids, of course, they're not kids anymore. As far as their ending, at the graduation, Dustin pulling his best Eddie impersonation, and then of course downstairs in the basement. What were your feelings throughout those moments?
The graduation was fun. I
Mm-hmm.
liked Dustin's, nod to Eddie. I liked that we got to see Erica again because I think the last
Mm-hmm.
time we saw her, that was like her and Mr. Clark in the church, which again, nothing happened. They saw the army and then we never saw Erica again, besides like
Yeah.
a little sneak peek of her in like the garage when Lucas and Max are outside. So it's nice to see Erica, filling up the confetti cannons, being Erica. I liked the pan through the crowd that showed like Derek and Holly are friends now, and
I
we got the
know. That was
confirmation
so
that
cute.
Ted did survive. And like you kind of,
Yes.
yeah, you get to see like a little organic sneak peek into like everybody. Like Jonathan's there on the camera. Like I thought that was cute. I thought the graduation was
Yeah.
cute. Um,
Mhm.
the basement I loved. I loved how it ended with them playing D&D and then like the new generation coming down. Like I thought that was perfect. There's just, the one thing that I know we're going to get to in a couple minutes that is like making me a little angry. But everything else about the finale, like I liked. I call them the kids and the teens, so you know who I'm talking about. But yeah, I liked the kids ending better than the teen ending. And then
Mhm.
Hopper and Joyce somewhere in the middle.
Yep. 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 How about you, Julie?
Yeah, I think Sarah's it felt natural, it felt fine. They took their time with it, whereas I feel like the first half was very rushed of the episode, in my opinion.
Mhm.
I liked everybody. I think I liked yeah, the D&D scene was great. Joyce and Hopper's scene was great. The graduation was good too. Yeah, it was nice to see everybody.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I was happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall I was happy with it as well. I think that just to piggyback to Joyce and Hopper, I think that was a great scene. I think it played out wonderfully. I mean, again, I'm a huge Hopper fan, and for me, Winona Ryder can do no wrong in this show. Um, so I really enjoyed that scene, and it just felt kind of nice to see them be able to have their moment. They'd gone through all of this stuff, all of these situations with the kids, and it's like, holy crap, now they can kind of just sit back and talk about having a future. I thought it played wonderfully. The graduation was great. Eddie lives. I love it. I thought it was cool to give Dustin that moment, because I think that, and it's tough when you have all these characters to give the balance to everybody, but it felt like he kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit. And of course, rebelling a lot was kind of like, it just made me kind of not as with him as I had been in other seasons. So I thought it was nice that he had that moment. Um, and as far as the kids in the basement, that was a chef's kiss. As soon as they were playing D&D, I was just like, of course they are.
The
You
part
know,
that actually, I'd say the only part of like the whole finale that like elicited some tears was them putting their D&D books like back on the shelf. I think that was one
yep.
of my favorite parts of the finale.
It was. It was. I think so too. Well, actually, that and one other part, which, yeah, I guess they are two different things, but they're in the same scene. But this other thing might have gotten me even more because, of course, they're playing D&D and they're arguing, and I'm looking at them, these young adults who sound and look kind of like those little kids, from the beginning, so to speak. And it was cute, like being a kid at heart type of thing. And yeah, putting the books on the shelf, that was great. When Mike put his up, first of all, I think Finn had some great moments,
Mhm.
as an actor. And just my opinion, I think there were some nuanced moments, like not so much a lot of dialogue, but just the look, the physicality, the emotion, which, I would tend to think some of it is real. You work with all these folks for a long time, and the success that they've had, I'm sure there is sadness and emotion there, and I felt it from him. The scene that I'm speaking about, I think that hit me the most is when he walked up the stairs and Holly and Derek and the kids went downstairs, and he's an older brother, like, what are you guys doing? And they just got down to the table and they did the same thing. And when he looked at them, on his face, and I did watch this twice, on his face, you could see kind of that annoyance that you have as the older brother, which I'm an older brother, and I used to have that look with Kill. And then it just turned to like a realization, and then he had a little bit of a smile. And I'm not trying to sound cheesy. I mean, I'm just telling my thoughts to folks. But in that moment, he said so much, and I felt it. I was just like, he understood, and he had that smile. and I thought it was beautiful. I really did. That was my moment that I really enjoyed a lot. And again, you have to have an actor that can be believable, and I think Finn killed it in that scene. So, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it overall. It was heartfelt. Now, lastly, of course, talking Stranger Things, Julie, we're going to start with you. The question is, do we believe? What did you think of that? Did you think it was well done? And do you believe?
I I don't believe.
Okay.
Do I think it was well done? At first, I thought it was pretty cool to leave it open ended, but the cynical side of me is like, that's just a cop out. You didn't
Mhm.
have the guts to tell us definitively
Mhm.
how 11's story should end, and that frustrates me because, and then even more cynically, I'm thinking, oh, is this possibly going to be not weaponized, but used in the future for a spin-off, what have you, bringing back the show to whatever extent? Yeah, and I'm telling you, the more I think about it, the more dissatisfied I feel. And
Mm.
I'm starting to see more what Sarah was telling us the night of, like,
Yeah.
I can't believe they would end her story in that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, I still feel kind of lost on how I feel about it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Sarah, it's time for you to open the cannons and fire away.
Yes. So, like I said, 90 to 95% of the finale I really did enjoy. This is that 5% that I hated. I do not like how they ended Eleven's story at all.
Mhm.
I hate the you decide trope because I agree with Julie. They didn't want to like really piss a bunch of people off. So they were like, you decide, choose your ending, be happy with whatever your head canon is. And I hate
Mhm.
that. It
Mhm.
is a
Mhm.
trope that's been used in a couple shows and movies. And
Yep.
it's like ruined the show or the movie for me. Like I
Mm.
really don't like it. I think she deserved her happy ending, like a definitive happy ending. The what I kept waiting for was I call it the Batman at the cafe scene, like the Dark Knight Rises. Like I wanted to see Elle in the background somewhere. Like um, the movie I'll reference, it's going to be a deep cut. Not a lot of people watched it, and I think people really didn't like it. It's also a Netflix original. It's called Bright. It's the one with Will Smith and Joel Egerton, and it's about fairies. It's different. But
Mhm.
long story
Oh, okay.
short, the ending basically we think our main character is dead, and then later on, while the other two main characters are on stage receiving like accommodations, um, she walks by in the background with like her hood up. But there's like that moment of acknowledgement where like, okay, the whole party knows everyone is alive, even though we know
Mhm.
we're never gonna see each other again. And like
Mhm.
that's what I wanted. I wanted her to like walk by at graduation. Everybody gets like the eyes meeting. We all
Mhm.
know that we made it out of here, even though we know we're never gonna see each other again.
Mhm. Mhm.
That would have been like perfect for me. But I hate the we don't know what happens. You decide. Mike's sad. He didn't get his ending. Elle, yeah, even if she is alive, it's not the ending she like deserved. Like, yeah, that is the thing about the finale that kind of ruined it for me.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying
Mhm.
I personally don't like it.
Yeah.
So that's what's deterring me from buying the series because like I'm never gonna watch it knowing that I'm not satisfied with the ending. So
Mm.
I guess
Interesting.
in general, I do think it was a great show. I think it's probably in the top 5 Netflix originals like ever made. Like it's just yeah, I was bummed.
Hmm. Now, if she definitively died, like they didn't have that ending about the what I believe, would you have been obviously you'd been more okay with that than what we got? Would you have gotten the box set then?
If they had given her more of a chance to say goodbye. I
Okay.
don't like that,
Okay.
like, she didn't get a real goodbye with Hopper. She
Yeah.
barely did a goodbye with Mike. Mike didn't even tell her that he loved her back. Like,
Hmm.
it wasn't enough closure to have her actually die. In,
Gotcha.
a
All right.
perfect world, I would have had the ending that I just described, but, like,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't like this, you decide.
Hmm.
I'm happy for
Yeah.
the characters if they believe and that's what helps them sleep at night, but I wish we had have gotten the Bruce Wayne at the cafe ending.
Yeah. Okay. Julie, what about you? Do you agree with that, or are you kind of still in the middle, heading towards that viewpoint?
Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah, I mean, the Batman scene, I love that. That was a great
Mm.
comparison. I would have
That
liked
was
to
a
see
good
that.
comparison. Yeah.
um, I think what's kind of bothering me is it just feels like she didn't actually have to do it. Like, um, I mean, she did the same thing at the end of season 1, right?
Yeah.
Um, she went down that route. I mean, and this is like, it's not 2026, right? Like, she doesn't have a phone in her pocket where she'll be tracked 24/7. This is the end of the 80s, but she could realistically disappear to another
Hmm.
country
Yeah.
and not have to worry about being found. So to me, I think it's feeling more a bit forced
Hmm.
because when Collie was telling her, "Hey, we have to do this. Like the three of us need to go to end this whole thing." And we were all like, "No. Why?" And I still feel that way. Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
I
think
do agree with that.
that's bothering me a little bit.
Yeah, I do agree with that. They didn't have to, like, everyone didn't have to die. Just like, because look, they've been fighting this long. What's a little bit
Right.
longer, and not only that, but I think, and again, I'm thinking extra on it, and I'm thinking beyond seeing the finale and reaching, because of course I enjoy the show and I love the characters. But, as I do that, so I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, you guys have overcome so much. You killed Vecna. You just keep on going, see what happens. You've got the ability to do it, right? So that's kind of where I'm going. Like you said, I don't think they all needed to die, to quote
And
unquote
it's
win.
like they they took on the Mind Flayer and Vecna and they won. Like they
Right.
can't handle the military, you know?
Yeah.
And
Right.
Dr.
it's
K's still
not
alive out there somewhere, which really pisses
oh,
me off.
I
that
know.
she just and I see people clowning on this. And my sister was like, so she just like she, Hopper and Nancy murdered how many servicemen? And then Dr. K was like, "Oh no, like she's gone. The upside down's gone. Like, all right,
Right.
let me
See
pack
ya.
up my toys and get out of here." Like,
Let
Yeah.
everybody
what?
go. Like,
Right. Right. That's too funny. As far as for me on the ending, I agree. I think that if you can have it go one way or the other definitively, I think that's better. I think that this type of an ending, yeah, it's good for the youngsters. I mean, my youngest was like, "Oh, wow," the whole fantasy aspect of it.
Mhm.
So I get that. Do I believe? I mean, look, I'll tell you this. When they were being held and L was in the doorway of the portal, I was thinking to myself, dude, there's the sound blasters. Like, what's up? I was thinking that. So I'm just saying, I know the Duffers are like, yeah, it was whatever you believe. It could be, couldn't be, maybe not. We don't know. I'm just saying they put enough there logically to make it like, okay, how did Elle, you know, um, use her powers with Mike? You know, she didn't even grab at her ears or anything. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, so do I believe? I don't know. It's tough to say. Maybe I'm at like 55%, I believe. Maybe that's just me being whatever. But I do agree. I would have rather it been definitively she died, or like you said, Sarah, which was a great comparison, get the Dark Knight Rises scene. And as a matter of fact, that's what I thought we were going to get. I thought we were going to get just some type of a wink, like, yep, she made it, and I would have been okay with that, even though, like Julie, I wanted more spice. I would have been okay with it because I always thought to myself that Elle was not going to die. And part of that is because I guess just as a fan, I wanted her to have a happy ending of sorts. But with this, it's not exactly a happy ending. And poor Mike. So,
Especially with the big speech from Hopper saying, you're going to go on, you're going to have your happy ending, you're going to, give the life to your kids that you have never had. And then it's like, okay, like what was a big speech for if we weren't going to pay any of that off?
Yeah.
You're like, well, maybe she's dead, maybe she's not. Like, no.
Yep. Good point. Scale of 1. Yeah, I mean, no, and I get it. But a scale of 1 to 10, Sarah, what are we giving this season? 10 being, great, and 1 being it sucks.
So like season 5 as a whole?
Yeah.
Like 7.5, 8.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. That's solid.
It falls kind of in the middle. I don't know if we're going to do a ranking later, but it falls in the middle. Like I wasn't upset with it. It just, there was a couple of things I didn't care for, but it's not my least favorite season.
Gotcha. Julie, how about you for a 1 out of 10?
I'm almost at like and again, I haven't had a chance to rewatch the whole thing. Because I was having issues in volume 2, and I spoke with you guys a bit about that. I had some issues with the pacing. I was worried that they were spending too much time, like Sarah said, on certain characters. And it felt like they were stalling a bit. And then I was like, oh my gosh, we've got 2 hours left after this. How are they? Oh, and I was really concerned. And I feel like my concern was kind of validated for myself, at least. So I feel like I'm at like a 6.
Ooh.
It's above average, but it might be my least favorite season.
Okay. Yeah. Shots are fired. I'm surprised at that.
Please remember that's on a scale for Stranger Things, right? Like this is an excellent show.
Yeah.
And so saying it's the worst season for me is not, that's really not detrimental to, it's still a very good season of TV.
Yeah. No, I get it for sure. I think for me, I would go with an 8.
I'm probably honestly, I was going to say I was going to reevaluate the 8, but I am somewhere between a 7 and an 8, so I think a 7.5.
Yeah, I think I'm around there. I would say a solid 8 for me, anyways. And I say the main reason it wasn't because of the I believe. That's definitely one of the things that knocked it down a little bit for me. Again, and I understand why they did it, and I think that big picture, it's cute, because it's kind of like they did it during the D&D game, and I think that whole scene was great, but just not knowing for sure. It's like I want to know, and that's the part that gets me, and that's one of the reasons that I put it down to an 8. But the reason it is at an 8 rather than a 6, at least for me, is there was a lot of great emotional moments. I think the Mind Flare battle was great. I loved the graduation. I did love the D&D game. But there were, a couple things here and there that just kind of knock it down a little bit. And I've got to rewatch it as well. And I think that'll also give me a different sense of it. Sometimes when you're watching it with others, it enhances it because you're talking. And of course, we were doing a lot of talking. The kids were doing a lot of talking. So I wasn't So I'm definitely going to rewatch it again. But I think I'd go with an 8 for me personally. Um, but yeah, overall, it, I agree with what both of you guys said. It's a great show overall. It's had its ups and downs, had some things that I, kind of was a little curious about why those choices were made. But I think overall, it's been a fun ride, and we've gotten to seeing these actors grow up, which is pretty cool. Every time I look at pictures of them from season 1 to now, I'm just like, this is absolutely banana pancakes. Seeing these kids, it's crazy, but it's cool. It's really, really cool. um any other last words on Stranger Things, or any other rants on you guys' mind that you want to throw out there before we get to Scream?
I
And I
needed
know that's
more
a loaded
Henry.
question.
We needed more Henry backstory.
More Henry backstory. Okay, as
Yeah.
as 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 far as what? Like, so we saw him open the case. He got infected.
Yeah.
So did you want more, like, at that point in his backstory, or more in the lab, or?
So, you know how they had the scene with the high school that they showed twice?
Yes. Yeah.
That went nowhere for me,
Hmm.
except to their Broadway show, which I now feel like I have to go see, and I might go see.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So that kind of pissed me off. And I just
Yeah.
feel, I don't know. Yeah, I'm struggling to defend this, but I just feel like I liked how they ended him. He didn't switch to become a hero. He didn't help them.
Yep.
They tried to talk him out of it, and he said, nope, I'm exactly where I want to be.
Did you think he was gonna switch?
I was really concerned. And then I was
Really?
like, oh my gosh, they're just going to throw out his amazing monologue from season 4. They're just going
Yeah.
to say, yeah, forget about that. No, that was,
Right.
oh, I was scared. I was really scared. And then he said, nope,
No.
I'm happy with my decisions. This is
Yeah,
where I want to
just
be. I was like,
joking.
thank
I want to
God.
be evil, and I'm doubling down.
You're right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciated that, because I felt the
I
same
did
way. I
too.
was like, okay, it's cool that we got just the very sneak peek of, oh yeah, he was like just a kid and this is sad. And then he's like, and I
Right.
chose to be evil and I'm going to keep doing evil stuff. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it would have been all for naught if in the last
Right.
episode we did a big switch up.
Yeah. I don't think there's any way they could have done that and made it make sense to us longtime viewers. Like, he's a great villain. Jamie's a great actor, and it was cool, like a full circle moment. He was a kid too, and I thought that scene with Will, I thought that was a good little scene. That, again, I will say they made a lot of full circle moments like that, which I did appreciate, but I didn't think he was going to switch. I kept saying, no, he's not. He can't. He can't. Um, he stood on business. He's like, no,
He
I want to
did.
want to do bad stuff. I want to just stay evil, so that was great. I will say, Henry, yes, it would have been nice to see more, like you said, Julie, but he was a highlight, and he's been a highlight, for
Oh,
a while, which I
oh
think,
yeah.
I thought it was cool that he developed into what he became. I was saying that when we were watching the finale. It was like, who would have thought?
Oh, he would, yeah. I mean, yeah, just Vecna in general was like an adrenaline shot into the vein of the series, because I felt like season 3 was good, but it was a little like, like we
Yeah,
need something a little different. And it just,
right.
yeah, what it evolved into was excellent. And
It
yeah,
did.
ugh,
It did. I loved it. I loved it. Okay, real quick too in the chat. I want to get to the chat and catch up to them before we get to Scream and all of our hopes and dreams, which hopefully will not be dashed, but who knows? Uh, Kelly's got a member anniversary. Hey, Kelly, good to see you. Saying, can't wait to see what the new year holds for this amazing community. So glad to be a part of it. Thank you so much, Kelly. And, really excited for some things that you may be working on. So good stuff. Good stuff. We got Denisha in the house. Hope that you're doing well, Denisha. Saying, do you know what today is? Is it your birthday? Let us know. But good to see you. Hope that you're doing well, and also Happy New Year. John's in the house. Hey, John, what's going on? Saying, hey guys, happy holidays. Same to you. Stranger Things finale definitely worked for me simply because they didn't try to overdo it in trying to shock audiences like Game of Thrones. I do wish 11 got a happier ending. That's an interesting parallel, because with Game of Thrones, yeah, well that could be a whole nother conversation. I won't go down that road, but um, I think in a way they didn't try to overdo it, but there was so much going on. We got so many characters, and there were no deaths, so it's like, you know what I mean. So that was kind of it's a conundrum. It truly is. Do you ladies have anything you want to say about that specifically? Because yeah, they didn't try to overdo things, but I don't know, man. It's tough. It's really, really tough.
They pissed me off with the fake out, the Steve fake out.
Oh, bro.
Like, just don't do it at all.
Dude, like,
do it or don't do it.
And they really went hard with that.
It cut
fake
the block
out.
like a commercial break. Like, we didn't need all that.
My eyes rolled so far back into my head because when he went flying, I was like, I screamed and I was like, oh my God, they're doing it. And then that happened and I was like,
bro, he fell at least 7 inches before it faded. It's like, wait a minute, Jonathan's not that quick.
No.
But no, they trolled us. They really did. John, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you, man. Super Tenor also with a member anniversary, 24 months to big 2 years. Hey gang, love y'all. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too as well, man. Hope you've been doing well. Good to see you here tonight. John coming back in. Scream 7, I hope, is a bigger emotional story that adds weight to the trauma one faces rather than pure gore like 1 and 2, a powerful dynamic of mother and daughter along with a deep meaning for legacy. Well, let's get into this, ladies. Sarah, I'm going to start with you. Number 1, do you want the bigger emotional story for 7? And number 2, will we get it?
I mean, I think it is inherently going to be more emotional because you're dealing with a mother and a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'll get into this more later. My excitement's kind of fading for Scream 7.
Mm-hmm.
The more we hear about it or don't hear about it. So I'm not sure how I'm feeling about what the story is going to be, but I do think it is going to be more emotional because it's going to be about Sydney and her family, and that's like the most important thing to her.
Yeah. How about you, Julie? Do you think it's going to be a bigger emotional story, and is that what you want?
Is it what I want? Yeah. If we get a completely tonally serious movie, I would welcome that. No silliness at the end. No buffoonery or silly one-liner.
Buffoonery. Of course, it was me.
It's funny you said that though, Sarah, because I was just gonna say, and since we're talking about are we gonna get a trailer soon? The radio silence is kind of killing the vibe and excitement for me. I'm a little bit worried now.
Okay. Alrighty. That's fair enough. John, thank you so much for that. We appreciate you, man. Seriously. And that was a really good question. So let's jump into this, and I'm going to get back to the chat in a minute. But so we haven't, and what's up to William? What's up, man? Good to see you. So we haven't had the trailer yet, and it's been dry. We've all talked about this. I have a feeling that the trailer will be coming up this week. To me, it makes sense with the timing. We don't have that much time left. And they've got to get the marketing going. I mean, I think we can all agree with that. We all think they should, and we all want it. Sarah, do you think we're going to get this trailer this week? And if not, when do you think?
I don't think we're getting it this week. I want it this week, but realistically, we're basically 2 months out, right? We have almost every day in February, and then the rest of June or January. So I think they're probably going to release it near the last third of the month, probably the second last weekend. But you would think they would do it now so they could start playing it in front of other movies. But I don't know why. I feel like they're going to wait.
Primate's coming out this week, and that's another Paramount movie, and that's the only other horror movie that's coming out before Scream 7. If they don't use that, then
Yeah.
I'm
What else are they
going
gonna
to be
show it
very
on?
curious. Right. Yeah. And listen, I mean, if we look at it, from the first trailer to now, and from now till the release, I mean, this is the time. I can't imagine maybe the following week, but even that I think is kind of a week too late. I think this week coming up has to be the week that we get it. I would think. Will we? I don't know. I'm just totally speculating. But time wise, they got to get the marketing going. I mean, and Julie, and you as well, Sarah, saying that it's been dry and the vibe is being killed. I mean, first of all, and I'm sure when the trailer comes out that'll change. But like, I guess I'm saying, like, how much anticipation do you have for it? Like, has that waned? Because sometimes when you don't hear something or talk about it for a long time, you're not even really even looking for it. It truly is kind of out of sight, out of mind. I mean, how much anticipation do you guys feel? Has that changed or stayed the same?
I think it's gone down a little. When the trailer came out, it shot up.
Yeah.
But to be I don't know if it's just because there's been so much going on the past few months with Welcome to Derry and Stranger Things that I've just been preoccupied and not even thinking of Scream, but honestly, this has snuck up on me so quickly, that I'm like, "Oh my god, we're getting the movie, like, really soon," and I haven't even
Yeah.
been thinking about it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of a bummer, and then I guess I'll contradict myself a little and say, honestly, I don't even know if I wanna see another trailer, you know?
Mm,
I already feel like
okay.
we saw too much. I think it
Okay.
would help, like, get my excitement up, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't really want anything else spoiled.
Yeah, I don't either. One thing that we were talking about on Thursday for Killzone, we were talking about how all of us here in this community, obviously all content creators that are following, Scream and what have you, we've kind of created our own bubble where we're investigators. We're figuring out stuff. We're figuring out the reveals, the motives, who's who, and so forth. Um, and maybe that's not a great thing, but it is what it is. I think for Scream, the bigger focus or the hope isn't so much, well, who's Ghostface? But it's how we get to that point. If it's a good ride up until that point, maybe from 50% of the film on out to the finale. I think that's what will make things really, really special because like for instance, if I give an example, like Scream 4, I think that it was a great ride up to that reveal. And for me personally, that reveal worked, right? Whereas with Scream 6, I think that it was a bumpy ride to that reveal, and then the reveal didn't really work for me. You know what I mean? So like, and we all knew Wayne was one of them, right? Like we already knew it. But if the reveal and the performance after was something like 2 or obviously 96 or Scream 4, I would have been okay with that. So for me, like figuring out Ghostface isn't the biggest thing, and I just hope, especially with Kevin on board, that we can have a fun ride up to that reveal, because I already have an idea of who I think it's going to be, and I'm probably pretty close, and a lot of people have made guesses. Let me ask you this, and then we'll get back to the chat as well. The trailer should be coming out. We're hoping it's coming out. The anticipation might be a little down for it. What do you want to see in the trailer? And Julie, like you say, you don't want a trailer, but let's just talk about what you do want to see in it. Sarah, I'll start with you. What do you want to see in this trailer? From what I understand, the trailer is like a minute and 35 seconds long.
I want to see a tease of the characters we didn't see in the first one. I
Okay.
don't want just like another trailer of scenes of Sydney and her daughter, because then we're getting into giving too much away territory. Because realistically, how much screen time are all these people going to have? I obviously don't want them to give any like major plot points or anything that could potentially be like a spoiler, but like we got 17 people in this cast and we saw 5 of them in the first trailer. So just like give me like a little tease of, you know, look around the neighborhood, see who's the neighbor, like just show me a couple people I haven't seen yet. Don't give me anything else to do with like Dewey or Stu or Roman or any of these like returning potential voices, but like Ethan Embry and Anna Camp and like just give me a little sneak peek of some other people.
Okay. All right. That's fair enough. Julie, how about you?
Yeah, kind of the same thing.
Okay.
I wish it wasn't so long. If they could do like, I don't know, a minute. I don't know. Like, I'm so wishy-washy on this because it's like, I don't know. I think I agree with Sarah. Like we can see some of the other characters, but I really don't want to see any more Sydney and Tatum scenes. I feel like we already saw too many.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. And so we don't want anything with Dewey or Roman or Stu or anything like that, Sarah. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, because I don't want to be led in a certain direction with them because I don't want to get my hopes up about what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the theme for me for Scream 7 is like I'm genuinely trying to not get my hopes up. Like obviously I'm excited to see Nev back and I'm excited to see what they do. I mean, clearly Dewey's #1 fan here. Like I'm excited to see what's going on with my main man Dwight. But like
Dwight.
I just don't want to get
love
like
that.
my hopes up because this is why I thought about this last night and I think that's why I was kind of like underwhelmed to maybe talk about Scream 7 tonight was because I was thinking, do you remember how excited we were for 5?
Yeah.
Like we went nuts. It's all we could talk about. We were like obsessed with it. Everything was so exciting. Like I couldn't get enough of it. And then 5 kind of like crushed my soul a little and I was not excited for 6. And now that 7's coming out, I'm in this weird phase of like, I don't really want to get my hopes up. I'm more excited for 7 than I was for 6 because Kevin Williamson, Nev Campbell, like,
yeah,
the like return to form. But I'm just, I don't want to get my hopes up again and be disappointed. So I'm trying to like, just be chill. Just be chill.
Just right. Be right in the middle. I get it. Julie, when we talk about the possibilities in 7, is there anything, you know, we're speaking beyond the trailer now, but let's just talk about 7 specifically. Is there one thing, or it could be a couple things, that you absolutely don't want to happen or don't want to see in the film?
The stupid AI phone calls, and I'm really saying that out loud is soul crushing because I feel like I know it's coming. I'm trying to do what Sarah is doing, where you just calm down, and I just want to go in with like really low expectations and just, yeah. So luckily, I know there are spoilers out there, right? People
There have been
whispering. Haven't seen them.
Whispers. Yeah, I haven't either.
Hope I don't. I just, yeah. And this is this is similar to the thing with Stranger Things, where we've been talking about this for so long, and theorizing, and I just know that we're not going to get probably most or all of those outcomes in the movie.
Which is a lot different than 6, right? Like there was a lot of, at least for me personally, there was a lot of theorizing and kind of wish lists and stuff like that. And I got it, you know, we got.
That's true. Yeah.
We got the cult. We got something.
The 3 killers.
3. Yeah. We had more than 2 killers. Well, yeah, we definitely
5. I guess.
5. And I also wanted something that was like batshit crazy. We got the reveal in the beginning. We got some really cool final girl moments with Sam. Like these were things that I talked about beforehand. I will say, to your point, I kind of agree that I think with this one, It's so wacky, like all the different things that have been thrown at us, and also things that we've kind of pieced together. And obviously, the trailer was a part of that, and also what the actors have been saying, Matthew Lillard included. It's like, and I love Matthew Lillard, and I know this is good for the film, but if you go by things that he's saying, it's like, okay, bro, is this thing gonna work or not? I know you're happy to be back, and I love you, and I'm gonna have fun with it either way, as long as it's not just his voice. They gotta have at least a flashback, or so. I gotta at least see him, on the screen. That's how I feel. That's the thing I don't want either. Is just, well, I guess it's a little bit more specific. I don't want to just hear Stu's voice and Roman's voice. Like, I think that would be an absolute, like, I think that'd be a loss, because you got a chance to at least have a really cool ass flashback scene that might not only be kick ass, but also maybe change something that we thought we knew in the franchise, which I think could be really cool and also shape up a good story. So, that's what I want. Sarah, were you going to say something? I could see, I could see your mind working a little bit there.
Yeah, it was more of just I was like in agreement where I don't want just like a phone call. I want flashbacks. I'm like, if you're
Yeah.
bringing these people back and you've like announced that you've brought them back, it better not be like a 2-second phone call, because that would have been a cool surprise for fans if all we were hearing was their voices, right? They'd be like
Mhm.
little Easter eggs and like fun things. But yeah, to announce so publicly that they're all like returning, like especially Stu, like Matthew Lillard is so like amped up. It can't just be a couple lines.
Right. It'd be, I think that would be such a lot. I've said it before, but I just want to just say it again, man. That would be such a loss. And if that's all they would have him do, don't even announce it, man.
Yeah.
Let's just have fun with it, like in Scream 2 with that little cameo that, a lot of people wouldn't even have known about. You don't just announce that he's going to be in the film and not at least give him a moment, even if it's just a flashback moment or something,
Yeah, we got to see him. We just have to see him. I'm going to be so annoyed if we don't see these people.
Yeah.
I just like, do you guys, I feel like this is a result of me getting like thrown back to reality with multiple shows and movies lately, but it's like, I think after seeing the trailer for 7, it just feels like seeing, I don't know how to explain it, but the way it looks and the normalcy of it, I just can't picture them. I cannot picture a flashback with previous characters like Stu and Roman in a movie like that. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like they're not going to do it, because I just feel like, I don't know how to explain this to put it into words, but it just feels like the trailer was so normal. And normal is like not the right word, but like
generic. Yeah, I get exactly what you mean.
Sure, yeah. And it just feels like these flashbacks or these hopes that we have of a flashback with these previous characters, it just seems way too outlandish to happen in a movie that looks like this. Like, does that make sense?
Do you think that might have been part of what they wanted to do though with the trailer? Like make it look kind of like, hey, there's an opening, and hey, we're gonna look at Sydney and Tatum, and hey, a couple of Ghostface attacks, and then boom, a nice cool ending. He's walking away from a burning house and cut. Do you think
I
that?
hope
I've thought about that.
I hope it's a trick. I just feel like they're not going to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. My hope is that the trailer is edited that way because they think it's like more marketable to people who don't know all the lore.
Yeah.
And then when we actually get into it, we're like, oh yeah, this is like a Kevin Williamson thing. Like it gets better. And I'm just hoping that the trailer is generic, so it appeals to like the casual viewer, But
Mhm.
when we actually get into it, it's going to be more like what we're hoping.
I would like to think so. I mean, we could be totally wrong, and I'm okay with that. But to me, you're talking about a seventh film. Okay, this franchise has been around 30 years. It's well loved. It's one of the major horror franchises. In my opinion, and it's you know it's true. It's there. Um, and I would think that they would look at it that way and say, okay, we know that people are going to pick apart this trailer that love this franchise. But for those who don't know the franchise, let's just kind of let's get our hits in so they can kind of get some vibe and so forth. And let's save the other stuff, the crazy stuff, the stuff that'll kind of give too much of a sneak peek behind the curtain. Now, maybe I'm speaking, a lot more intelligently than what they were thinking behind the scenes, which would be sad. That would be kind of sad. But you would think that they'd be thinking that way. I really do. I suppose the second trailer might give us a little bit of an answer to that. Although I think the second trailer, and Jake and I talked about this on Thursday night, I think the second trailer is going to give us some of what we already saw. It might be, maybe a different moment of some of the characters we've already saw, and some new shots. And at least I think, well, I should say I'm hoping there'll at least be one shot that is that money shot, whatever that may be. I'm not saying that it would be, you know, any past character or anything, but just something to make you say, "Whoa," you know. That's what I would want out of a second trailer, knowing that unfortunately, like you were saying, Julie, we will get a second trailer and it will be a minute and change long. Um, we need to get something in it without giving away the whole story, which is tough. It's a tough balance. It really, really is.
I just do we know the length yet? I'm
From what I
assuming it's
understand, from what I understand, it's like a minute and 35 seconds.
or I'm sorry.
Oh,
I
the
meant
film.
the length of the movie. Yep. I'm
I
assuming
believe
it's
it's
2 hours.
yeah, I believe it's like an hour and 50 minutes, something like
Oh,
that.
wow.
I just remember with 6 when we saw some you guys were showing some pictures from behind the scenes of what we thought was like Kirby's house,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
things like that. And we were like, oh, or you guys were like, oh man, this could be like a nightmare or a
Yep.
flashback. I'm getting that same exact feeling of like, that's just too outlandish for this franchise. Like, it's not outlandish, but it's like, I feel like I can't expect that from a 2-hour movie anymore. Like, it just feels like, I don't know.
Okay, so flashbacks. You guys in the chat, let us know. Do you think we're going to get a flashback? Sarah, how do you feel about the idea of the flashback?
See, I'm into it because, like, when we think back to like Scream 3, like specifically is what I'm thinking of now, like we had like the nightmare with
Maureen.
Maureen outside the window and her gown all like ghostly, and we obviously are having like hallucinations of Billy and Five, and if she did or didn't hallucinate the ghost face on stage during the Cassandra play in 2. So like there is like a precedent in the past for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree, like we've kind of gotten more generic as we've gone on. So are we too far gone now? But I'm saying no, just because we had Sam having those visions of Billy. So I feel like if we can hallucinate a whole dead character, I think we could do a flashback, even though a flashback would be new, really, for the franchise. But I think it kind of falls under the same umbrella of things, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, good points, and both of you, well said. Because yeah, it could kind of go either way. Um, Danielle says she hopes for it. Yeah, I want it all. There you go. I do think bringing back, Roman and Stu. I just have this feeling that like a flashback could make sense. You know, I just have a feeling that, just having a call or some deep fake, it's kind of like, I don't know. And it could be a combination. As a matter of fact, and we've all talked about it, it could be a combination of both. But I just feel like a flashback could really like give Sydney that extra little, stab, so to speak, as far as, I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be crazy to see how this turns out. I will say, unlike 5 and 6, this one, the speculation beforehand is so wild. The lane is so much wider. It really is. And maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Maybe it is a good thing.
Can you imagine what it would be like if they hadn't announced these outlandish casting choices like Roman and Stu? Like if we didn't know,
Yeah.
the vibe would be very different.
It
But
would. It would. Let me ask you this real quick, and then we're going to get back to the chat for a sec. If they didn't announce it, how would your vibe be for 7? Like, would you be more excited, less excited, or the same, Sarah?
So if they announced like nobody, if it was just like Sydney and like the new characters and Gale,
Right.
I feel like I would be just like slightly less excited.
Okay.
In my perfect world, they would have announced Matthew Lillard and nobody else. So we still had like surprises along the way, but we still get like the excitement that there is like a Skeet and a Matthew aspect to it. But yeah, I think if it seemed like it was going to be something like new completely and not have anybody returning except Nevin Gale, Nevin Courtney, I'd be a little less excited than I am now because I'm so curious how they're going to use them.
Right. How about you, Julie?
yeah, I think I'd be way less excited and way more cynical about the trailer.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, it's kind of seems generic, and we wouldn't have that lingering anticipation and theorizing about these strange decisions to bring these people back.
Right.
And I just want to say, like, whoa, if Roman is just a voice on a phone, like, would people even recognize that? Like, it's just
Right.
why? So
And that
please, no.
exactly. Well, and that's why I'm thinking if it's not a flashback, I just don't see why you do it.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It just doesn't make as much sense to me. But because they're bringing back Roman and Stu, I just keep thinking to myself, a flashback could make a lot of sense. It could add something. What were you gonna say, Sarah?
No, I was just agreeing because yeah, like Roman specifically, it's
Yep.
not like they invited back every previous person who's played a ghost face for some
Right.
little 2-second call. That's
Yep.
the specific trio of Roman, Stu, and Billy. So like, yeah, they got to do something more with it.
That's what it feels like to me. As soon as I heard that Scott was back in it, that's the only thing I could think of that would really make sense. Like Stu, as much as I don't want this to happen with Matthew, Stu could be a voice, and for fans of the series, they could like really key in because of the fact of he was just so charismatic and out there. You know what I mean? But Roman was down to business. The jealousy and the business was what Roman did. So to me, it only really works as a flashback. But again, that's just me maybe overthinking it. I don't know. But I will say, if they didn't announce all these things, my excitement for it would be a little less as well, and kind of more, I don't know. I don't want to say cynical, but kind of like, okay, what are they gonna do? How are they gonna figure this out? So in that sense, that's probably why they made those announcements. I mean, who
Honestly,
knows?
yeah.
Just to drum up that fire and that hype and all the speculation. I mean, again, people were doing Scream content that don't even talk about horror movies online. Okay, like I saw people that hated Scream content, and they were talking about, oh, well, Stu's coming back. Oh my God. It's like, okay, buddy. Yeah, we know where you're doing that. It's okay though. Anyways, let me stop. Let's get back to the chat for a second here. Super Tenor also coming in again. The military just forgave them. They wouldn't experiment on Will or anything. Yeah, they kind of turned a blind eye, didn't they? Thank goodness.
Yeah. Packed up their toys and drove out of there.
Yeah. Oh, Levin's dead. Damn it. Okay, it's over. You guys won. See ya.
Yes, that's
Didn't
the
want to
end of
deal with the
that.
paperwork, just packed up and headed out.
That's right. No paperwork, no paper trail. John saying, I do find it odd the team in Stranger Things didn't prepare for the military after defeating Vecna. They should have had a way in and a secret way out. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, the military. I mean, and it made sense in the overall context of this volume, because the military is always, there's always been that presence, the lab and all of that. But man, the military just irritated the shit out of me, just in general. Like, every time they showed up, I was like, geez, here we go. I know they got to do it, but you know what I mean? It's like, damn.
Yeah, especially because the way it ended, I think, it just felt like, oh no. Oh well, on to the next.
Yeah, of course the military is waiting right there. What do you so
yeah, I don't know what they expected. They drove right through their checkpoint. So,
yeah, that is true, man.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna see us do that. We're just going into another dimension. We'll get out and there'll be no problem. I love it. Hollywood guy, what's up, man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, saying night and hello. I need to see that trailer, and the New Year's list was kind of meh. Yeah, they've been kind of doing these teases. I know we were talking about it on Instagram and so forth. And I was saying to Jake the other night, it's like, yeah, it's all right, but I want to see a trailer. Yeah, that sounds so bougie, doesn't it? I feel like I'm so bougie about this.
No, I felt the same way. When you guys said that, I was like, yeah, it was very, oh, okay.
Stop the bullshitting. Where's the trailer? Okay. Like, I want to see some shit, I mean, I don't know. And again, maybe that's those high expectations. I mean, look, you got to take the heat. If you're in the kitchen, you got to be able to take the heat. This franchise has had a lot of success. It's made a lot of money. It's survived, where other would-be franchises have totally failed and fallen on their face. And I'm not looking at you. I know what you did last summer, but I am. And so with that being said, they are held at a higher level. So yeah, the New Year's thing was all right, but nah, I'm just waiting for that trailer.
If they were releasing those little fun things weekly, oh, sorry, Julie, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just saying, if they drop those little things like weekly, they may be fun to look at and see what they put out and what's going on, and are there any little Easter eggs in there. But it's to have nothing and then that post on an Instagram story, it was nothing.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the snack in between the meals of the, which is the trailer. So yeah, personally, I think, and we've talked about this before too, I think the timing was a little bit off of when the trailer came out, and maybe even the release date. Maybe the release date should have moved forward a little bit more, because we did run into the holidays, and I get it. You're not going to play the trailer the week of Christmas. That's not going to happen. But I just feel like right now it's pretty much a week, maybe 14 days tops, or else the timing is going to seem way off to show a trailer and really drum up that excitement and build a hype. You know what I mean? And we saw how that can mess up a Scream film, a la Scream 4. We got to get this marketing right, so we got John coming in too. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you with all the support tonight, and everyone else saying, I'm curious, what's the thoughts on Warner Brothers being bought by Netflix or Paramount? And do you think the new era of streaming will affect the horror genre positively or negatively in the future? I was really nervous about it because Netflix, they really look at everything as content. They literally said that, content. And I just hope it doesn't affect the genre negatively, or any genre, because I love so many genres of film. Will it? It's hard to say. I do think there's going to probably be a growing phase. It's going to be some bumps in the road. I really do think that's a big possibility. Like with Stranger Things, we would have loved to have seen it in the theater, but it wasn't playing anywhere around where I live. So you guys that saw it in the theater, you're so lucky. But yeah, I was nervous about it. Are you guys nervous about it being bought?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't like the idea of it all. I think the closer you get to a monopoly, the more dangerous it is. I
Agreed.
think it's going to be bad for independent contractors. They're going to start using a lot of AI. I think it's going to affect like cinemas. It is a slippery slope.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't read everything about it. I'm not sure what it all exactly is happening, but based on a couple of the announcements, I was not a fan.
Yeah. It is a slippery slope. And I do agree that, we can't look, Netflix can't have it all, right? You're already really big. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, John. And there's going to be a lot of bumps in the road, I think. I really, really do. But hopefully at the end of it all, it won't affect movies negatively. I really hope it doesn't.
They better not touch dairy.
Right? Look at that. Right?
Oof.
Isn't that crazy?
You can't afford to have us password share, but you can afford to acquire Warner Brothers. All right. It's all right, bud.
Yeah.
Exactly. There you go.
Really
I like
expose
that, Sarah.
themselves there.
I love that. That was great. Thank you so much, John. We appreciate you. Erica also coming in. If anything, I'd hope for flashbacks of Gail's unseen living room footage and show Billy and Stu and Roman together. Then we get them and it makes sense. Yeah, a lot of people have talked about that camera. It's definitely a possibility if they were really doing a deep cut, because the camera was there. I mean, that would be kind of cool. Do you guys think there's any chance that we'd get Gail's camera in this film?
It'd be fun.
It would be fun.
It would be fun, and also something we didn't really talk about, but I'm kind of worried if they do a flashback and it's like and the camera's right in their faces, right? Are we worried about the de-aging?
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
So if
that's part of it.
If it's footage that's from Gail's camera and it's, far away and not the best quality, I feel like they could pull off a more convincing, less concerning scene, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. It does make sense. I think it's a possibility. I mean, it's there. So, it's definitely. Look, I don't want to say that I'm banking on it personally. I think I would say maybe a 30% chance at best, and that might be a little high. I don't know how deep they'll get with the deep cut, because we're already going deep with bringing these old characters back. So we'll see, though. Maybe that is the linchpin. Maybe that's part of the way, like you were saying, Julie. Who knows?
Well, and I guess what would they even show though? Because without retconning things, and I just like.
Mm-hmm. Well, what if they were to show that Roman was there that night out of sight?
Yeah.
Which could lead, and again, and I don't want to start ranting, but this did lead into one of my theories. When we talk about Stu, what if Roman helped Stu, after that attack, helped him, whatever, hide or, whatever. That could be a way in. It's kind of far-fetched. This is definitely like fan theory territory for me. But, I was just like thinking, I was like, man, Roman could be there and Stu is like on death's door and he comes in and helps out and blah, 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 just like he faked his own death in Scream 3, but that is.
I mean, what else are they gonna do? It is fan theory territory, but it's like what I don't know what else they would do in a flashback.
But the precedent is set for the release of this footage. When you think about it, Scream 2, we have the scene with Dewey and Gale. They're going over all of their footage, and then they see the footage, like the killer shot. Scream 3 with Roman's reveal. He's got the footage playing in the background of Cotton and Maureen.
That's
And
true.
in 6, we have like the Jack Quaid footage like playing in the background. Like they've done it before. Like they could slip it in and it wouldn't be that out of place. Plus, we always have the killer's monologue that's like, I'm going to tell you exactly what I've been doing for the last week. So, like, why not throw in a couple flashbacks? Like, I think they can make it work.
Yeah, at least keep us entertained while you're yapping, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, and like I said, this whole flashback thing, it could totally not be in the film, but I do think if it was done in a certain way, it could be cool to see these past characters, and it could also, really have a nice moment that could change some ways that we think about the past, and I think that could be really cool. So, anyways, I'm just saying those are some great possibilities. We'll have to see. It's out there, and there's a lot of fan theory, but it could happen. It could happen. Erica, thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it so much. You rock. Well, guys, we're going to get ready to wrap it up there. This was this was pretty crazy. I'm glad we got a chance to get a couple of our rants for Stranger Things out there. I'm sure, we got tons of others. Maybe at some point we can talk some more about those things and give Derek some more love, because he was like an MVP of the season. I'm just saying, every time he did something, it was hilarious. That kid, he made the most of his time. He really did.
His little, like, 30-second monologues were, like, the highlight of every episode he had one in. Like, oh my God, I can't get into it because I'll go on forever. But, like, everything he said was just, like, delightful. Like, I just, like, rewatched clips of, like, him going off in the woods.
Yep. Yeah.
I think he brought so much energy and just what we needed for that last season.
Yeah, it was kind of like this weird type of funny and badass energy that was like, I don't know. He was a kid. He was a kid that stood out, and that was kind of cool, And it was so funny because he's flip-flopping between being an asshole to being delightful Derek, having cute moments, funny moments, brave moments. I was like, man, this guy, some great stuff, man. So anyways,
we needed it because
we did.
Dustin used to be that character, but he was all angsty and traumatized this season, so we needed like a weird little quirky boy saying like weird stuff.
We did.
You're right.
You are so right. Dustin was that guy. You're right. Or kid, I should say. Good point, Sarah. Good point. Well, I'm sure we've got some more stuff that we'll at least throw out at some point about Stranger Things. There's still a lot of discourse and discussion about it online. You guys in the chat, let us know what you think. In the comments, we can continue to talk about it. And obviously with Scream 7, the countdown is here. Like I said, I feel as though this week is the week to do it. It makes sense. You've got Primate coming out. It's Paramount. It's the only major horror release right before Scream. If they don't listen, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, because obviously if it drops on Thursday, I'm gonna go live and talk about it. We're gonna have Killzone that night. If it does not come out this week, I'm gonna be writing you guys in the thread like, I cannot believe this shit. What is going on? It's crazy. I just hope they've got a really good master plan that I can't understand with my feeble mind, because I want this film to be set up the best it can be for success. And I hope the movie is good and can have success. But marketing is so important. They got to get people that are not us online. They got to get those people into the theaters. And if you wait too long, you're not going to have enough time to build it up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got a trailer. We get trailers for Christopher Nolan's film that's a year and whatever out, for the Odyssey.
That's too much. That's too
You
far.
know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. I love Christopher Nolan though. But anyways, okay.
He's got the clout to do that.
He can do anything he wants. He's basically what James Cameron. Well, James Cameron is still really, really successful, but I mean, Christopher Nolan is like that new, I'm the king of the world, I can do anything type of director. But yeah, it's interesting stuff. Alrighty. Well, Guys in the chat, thank you for being here. We appreciate it so much. Definitely drop some comments. Let's continue the conversation there. If you haven't hit the like button, please do that. If you're not following us on Spotify, please check us out on Spotify or Apple Podcast or Amazon Pandora for the Scream at Night podcast. We got some really cool stuff that we've been doing and stuff that we're hopefully working on. And we hope to have you guys follow us there. And we will catch you guys next time. As always, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.